A lasting friendship. Recent decades have seen growing bilateral cooperation ranging from energy to agriculture to investment. On May the 8th, 2015, Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin agreed to integrate China's Silk Road Economic Belt Initiative with Russia's aspirations under the Eurasian Economic Union framework. So big potential there for two countries to explore.
Well, President Xi Jinping and all heads of state and government are currently heading to pose for family photographs at the Great Hall of the People. Now, the Belt and Road Initiative there was proposed by President Xi, and leaders there have arrived at the Great Hall of the People for a state banquet today, and President Xi and all the heads of state and government currently at this point posing for family photographs at the Great Hall of the People. And we just saw a few minutes ago President Xi receiving all the 29 heads of state and government there at the Great Hall of the People. They are now posing for a photograph with all leaders and the president, and they're going to be taking a photograph there in just a few moments.
And you're watching live footage from the Great Hall of the People. This is the reception hall on the second floor of the Great Hall of the People. This is where Chinese leaders typically meet foreign dignitaries and take photos with guests. And you can see there's a huge Chinese painting right in the middle of this room. It's called "The Land It's So Rich and Beautiful." The name comes from a poem by Mao Zedong, first chairman of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China. And the calligraphy was also done by Mao Zedong. The painting is 9 meters tall and 5.5 meters wide. It was the result of a collaboration between two Chinese painting masters, Fu Baozhi and Guan Shanyu. Chinese President Xi Jinping and his wife Peng Liyuan are taking a family photo with all world leaders attending the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation in Beijing. And very soon, Chinese President Xi Jinping is going to host a welcome banquet for all those leaders. Now they've just taken the group photo and they're walking to the welcome banquet. Just on Sunday morning, the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation has officially opened. At the opening ceremony, Chinese President delivered a keynote speech.
Well, Professor Foon still here with us here. Just a few more interesting tidbits that we heard from this morning, and of course just returning to President Xi's speech in the morning, the whole question of connectivity for the countries, and in terms of policy as well, because there are already 100 countries here who have shown interest in this initiative. In terms of policy and connectivity and moving forward, how's that going to work?
Well, research has always shown, if you see the movements of foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment tend to move into places where you have similar institutions, understandable policies, more transparent policies. Now we are looking at areas sort of globally where you have different stages of development, and reflecting that you have different kinds of institutions and policies. So these are the challenges that we need to overcome, so that you can make the movements of money, people, and goods relatively easier. But it will take a process. This forum is a good forum for people to talk about those issues and to iron out the differences.
You talk about the issues and ironing out differences and the challenges that you foresee. What kind of challenges do you foresee in implementation moving forward?
Well, Chinese as a nation, we are unique in terms of even in terms of the language. So for the Chinese to move out, we also need to learn out And when we look at that part of the world, you certainly see a vastity in terms of cultures, religions. There I can make a big argument that these are the challenges we all face. And fundamentally, as mankind, we need to move from what we are as a tribalist to what we are as nationalist, then to international globalist. If we are all globalists, those things will become much easier, but it's a long process.
And some observers are actually saying that the Bantan Road Initiative is China's vision for globalization moving forward. Do you agree?
I agree, but globalization, it's not the first time. When you look at the history, there are rounds of globalization when you see misconfigurations of different dimensions of globalization. Even in the dimension of economics, you are seeing the dimension of the movements of people, the movements of capital, and the movements of other factors of production. When you see disalignments of those different dimensions, there will be problems. And at the moment, there are signs of backlash against globalization. And in this context, China has stepped forward to say we are for globalization. And incidentally, China has been a big beneficiary of globalization in the past few decades. And there are lessons for others to learn from Chinese experience. And China also wants to share those lessons and experience from other countries.
Yes, let's live again to the Great Hall of the People.
各位嘉宾、女士们、先生们、朋友们，为欢迎出席“一带一路”国际合作高峰论坛的各国贵宾，中华人民共和国主席习近平阁下和夫人彭丽媛女士今晚在此举行宴会。
and his wife Peng Liyuan are hosting
heads of state and the government and your spouses, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, welcome to the banquet hosted by President Xi Jinping and Madame Peng Liyuan of the People's Republic of China in honor of the distinguished guests attending the Belt and the Road Forum for International Cooperation. 现在，我荣幸地邀请习近平主席致辞。Now I have honor to invite President Xi to the podium.
尊敬的
Your
各位
Excellencies,
国家元
Heads
首、
of State,
政府首脑、
Government,
国际组织负
and
责人夫妇、
international organizations, and
各
your
位代表、
spouses,
各位来宾、
distinguished guests,
女士们、先生们、
representatives,
朋
ladies
友
and
们，
gentlemen, dear friends,
大家晚上好。
good evening.
我谨代
On
表
behalf
中国
of
政
the
府、
Chinese government
和人民
and people,
代表我夫人，
my wife,
并以我个
and
人的
myself,
名义，对大
let me
家出
begin
席
by
“一带一
warmly
路”国际
welcoming
合
you
作高峰
to the
论
Belt
坛
and Road Forum
表示
for
热烈欢
international
迎。
cooperation.
在座的很多朋
To
友
many of you present here
对
today,
Beijing
Beijing
并不陌
is not
生，
unfamiliar,
也在
and
这里
actually
留下
it
了
may
许多
bring
的
back
回忆。
many fond memories.
北京是
As
千年
an
古都，
ancient capital,
见证了
Beijing
历史
has
的
witnessed
沧桑
great
变迁。
historical changes over the
北京
centuries.
也是一座
It is also
现代
a
新
modern
城。
city
随着中国国家
that has
发展
taken
不
on
断
a
展
new
现
look
的新风
as
貌，
China makes progress.
北京更是一
More
座国际
importantly,
化大都市。
Beijing is an international
东西
metropolis
方不同文
where
明
Eastern and Western
时时刻刻
civilizations meet
在这里相遇
and
和交流。
interact.
在北京，
Here in Beijing,
你可以摇
you
览
may tour
古老的
the
故宫、
time-honored Forbidden City,
长城、
the Great Wall,
天坛
and，the Temple of Heaven.
也可以参观
You may
现代派
visit
的
the modernistic
鸟巢、
birds
水
and
立方
nest Water Cube at the National Center for the Performing Arts. You may choose to enjoy a performance of traditional Peking opera or the Chinese comic crosstalk, or you can treat yourself to a Western-style ballet or symphony. You are likely to bump into trendy-looking Chinese youngsters in boutiques of international brands, or you are likely to come across foreigners speaking fluent Chinese in the hutong, traditional alleys in local neighborhoods. It is said that you can see a world in a grain of sand and an ocean in a drop of water. Beijing's evolution from a tiny town to an international metropolis is just one example of how mankind progresses as people of different ethnic and cultural backgrounds interact in a common home and embrace a common future. More than 2,000 years ago, our ancestors, driven by a desire for friendship, opened the overland and maritime Silk Roads, and thus started a great era of exchanges among civilizations. Today, we gather here to renew the Silk Road spirit and discuss the Belt and Road development for international cooperation. This is both a continuation of our shared legacy and a right choice for the future. The Belt and Road Initiative embodies our aspiration for inter-civilization exchanges. As a vehicle that facilitates communication between different civilizations, the initiative will promote mutual learning and add splendor to human civilization. The Belt and Road Initiative embodies our yearning for peace and stability. As a bond bringing countries closer to each other, the initiative will encourage solidarity, mutual respect, and mutual trust between countries, and inspire our people to work together to build a harmonious and peaceful world. The Belt and Road Initiative embodies our pursuit of common development. The initiative aims to break development bottlenecks, narrow development gaps, and promote the sharing of development fruits among countries. It envisions a community of common development where we work together through thick and thin for a shared future. The Belt and Road Initiative embodies our shared dream for a better life. The initiative weaves into a common vision the dreams of different countries and peoples. We'll work to translate this vision into reality and deliver greater happiness and well-being to our people. The high-level dialogue of the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation held today has been a great success. The discussions were lively and the outcomes productive. Tomorrow, we will meet by Yanqi Lake for the Leaders' Round Table to jointly plan the Belt and Road cooperation. We are at a fresh starting point, ready to embark on a new journey together. It will be a journey full of hope. So long as we press ahead with a common vision, without backpedaling or standing still, we will achieve greater connectivity and benefit from each other's development. Our common endeavor, just like the ancient Silk Road, will have far-reaching impacts and bring benefits to many generations to come. Now, please join me in a toast to the bright future of the Belt and Road, to the development and prosperity of all countries, to the full success of this forum, and to the health of all guests and your families. Cheers.